Okay, everybody, here we go. Episode 5 of the Daniel Duncan Show. Sorry, last week we took a week off. We were busy, and that's just part of the learning experience and trying to have a podcast out every week. But hey, we're back, and it's finally the end of the football season, Dan. It's been an amazing year in football, and as much as it's gonna be sad that it's leaving us for a few months. I think we'll be able to celebrate hopefully a great game tomorrow, dude. And so yeah,
Yeah,
how are you feeling on this Super Bowl weekend?
man, I'm feeling really pumped up about the Super Bowl tomorrow, and it's just the end of a season. Always towards the end of the year, it's like, man, we need more football. That's
Hmm.
that's what I always think when we get to this point.
I know, yeah. It's like every year at least it's like each season tops the rest and so yeah, so it's a 2020 rematch that we'll be talking about today. That's the Super Bowl for this year. Chiefs and 49ers, a lot at stake, two heavy hitter teams. And so yeah, we're gonna cover that and then we'll talk about at the end a specific part about this episode that we're going to introduce to you guys. But um first, Dan,
Oh
can
yeah,
I get a quick slipper check for the fans?
yes, you can. Yeah, you can. The fans, they need to see this.
There they are. Dan's
Teddy's,
prized
man,
possession, the new Teddy slippers.
the new ones.
Got to be in pink too.
Heck yeah, dude.
Mhm.
Always.
So yeah, that's I like you've mentioned before, those are what you're wearing most nowadays, aren't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, I switch off every once in a while, but yeah, these are
Hmm.
the ones that I've been going for lately.
Sweet, man. Alrighty. So, like I mentioned, Dan, it's a rematch of 2020. So
2020 rematch.
we've seen these two teams meet before, Dan, and thinking about the differences between the Chiefs and the 49ers in 2020 compared to now. Um, you think about, that being what Mahomes' second year in the NFL or maybe second year as a starter, right? The second year as a starter, MVP year and leading a team to the Super Bowl and kind of that start of that dynasty being that year. And then the 49ers and at the time, being a Jimmy Garoppolo led team um, defied the odds in many ways, but still another dominant 49ers team. A lot of the same guys on defense too from that team, and a rookie George Kittle on that team. But if you think about just how the differences, at least on Kansas City's side, um, it's definitely not as good as an offense around Patrick Mahomes this time around. Um, so yeah, how do you think he's gonna fare, Dan, considering um, obviously he's made it this far with the core he has on offense, but thinking about, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, and a really good Damian Williams at the time too. Um,
Yeah.
how do you think the difference in weapons is going to fare for Mahomes and the Chiefs this year?
It's a lot different because, I mean, you look at the last Super Bowl they played against San Fran, they had, like you mentioned, Tyreek, Sammy Watkins, Damian Williams at running back. It's a younger core. It's inexperienced, but I mean, Mahomes is going to be finding those guys that are, with Rice deep down the field. So I mean, it's a lot different than the last Super Bowl, 4 years ago when they played San Francisco. Rice to me is the key factor at receiver. He's been making the big plays all season long. So I mean that's kind of the big playmaker for KC in this one.
I agree. Especially if, you know, Nick Bosa, obviously he was on that 49er team that lost. And he's coming off a two-sack performance as far as getting pressure to the quarterback. Obviously, Travis Kelce's going to be there as a dump down target, but Mahomes,
Yeah,
considering leading the league in drops and stuff, he needs to be comfortable with who he's throwing to. You know, that's the difference in, what he had to work with in 2020 is he could definitely feel more comfortable throwing to his guys. And
right.
so yeah, obviously then, you know, this is probably a better defense that Kansas City has right now compared to 2020. Obviously no Tyrann Mathieu anymore, but the secondary, at least for Kansas
He's
City,
gone.
as far as like, after the catch ability, and tackling in the open field, I'd feel way more confident in this Kansas City defense this year compared to 2020.
Yeah, I feel confident about it too. I mean, McDuffie is the new Honey Badger. I mean, he can make lockdown plays, those seam routes down the field, check downs. I mean, he's just a lockdown corner. So I mean, he's really been the cornerstone of Tyrann Mathieu a little bit.
Yeah, and then you think about the 49ers and what they were compared to what they are now. Um, Total retool offensively, outside of rookie Debo and Kittle off of that team.
Yeah,
Uh,
Debo,
yeah,
George.
that was a fun time because we were just getting introduced to those players and they were so dynamic. Obviously, Debo, not as
Yeah,
much a use in the running game because of a player like Christian McCaffrey, but rookie year Debo was fun. But so yeah, obviously, thinking it's hard to think about the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo at one point in his career was a dominant quarterback or, a dominant game manager. But still, I'd say they have a definite upgrade at quarterback now compared to 2020.
yes.
Then, um, you know, I think Tevin Coleman was the starting running back of that 2020 squad. Comparing now.
It's Coleman and then Mostert too when
Oh,
he
that's
came
right.
in.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
But so yeah, you know, Christian McCaffrey, Eli Mitchell, um, obvious upgrade there. And then the emergence of Brandon Ayuk over the last few years after
Oh
that
yeah.
season. Ever since he's been in town, he's uh just he's gotten so good and obviously leading the league in yards per catch, just become a total deep ball uh route runner. And so yeah, Dan, this is a very different 49er offense. That's
Yep.
coming this year. And then on the defensive side of things, like we said, a lot of the same core crew, same linebacking core. Um, Nick Bosa's still there. Obviously, they got Hargrave and Chase Young this year, so it's definitely retooled
Yep.
defense. So yeah, obviously, like so what we're basically Kansas City offensively gotten a little worse, defensively gotten a little better. 49ers offensively gotten a little better, defensively gotten a little better. So, looking at these comparisons, Dan, um, do you think that it's going to be a similar matchup as 2020?
Yes, I believe it will be a similar matchup towards the 2020 game that we saw a couple of years ago. I mean, you mentioned a bunch of, changes. There's a new You got Purdy in there now. You got McCaffrey at running back. Those were big upgrades for San Francisco. And also, I was looking back at, San Fran when they had Debo and they had Emmanuel Sanders in that Super Bowl too. Is Ayuk and Samuel together are way better than Emmanuel because Emmanuel was towards the end of his career, and also, it's the big plays that are going to be made by their receiving core versus Kansas City's.
Yeah, and then so thinking about what happened in previous weeks of the playoffs and what happened in the conference championship game, Dan. Um, 49ers, it's been I don't really think they've been able to control the pace of the game, at least their two playoff matchups so far. It's very much been uh Brock Purdy proving himself to be a guy who can come back and lead comebacks.
Yeah,
So, um yeah, last week, Dan, Purdy only sacked twice, but he was running for his life all game. And so yeah,
yeah,
and then on the ground they were able to go for over 150. But then the Lions and after that first half, 24-7, and then they finished the game rushing for over 180, passing for over 220. And then, the Packers obviously had a halftime lead there, and then ended up losing. So it's like, the 49ers, they've been able to somehow just pull things off and use being down from behind as motivation. But it's like a lot of that was because of somebody like Dan Campbell, being such
yeah.
an inexperienced coach and having that mentality that, the go for it on any fourth down mentality that really changed
Aggressive play
yeah,
calling.
aggressive play calling really shot the Lions in their foot, and a couple other drops here or there. So at least from my perspective, it's been not as convincing of a playoff run for the 49ers. And Andy Reid, he's not going to make those same mistakes, Dan, will he?
No, no, he won't because every time you see him in the playoffs, he's just calm, cool, and collective. He's got all these plays and formations that he just comes up with, and whenever he needs to call them in the situations, he trusts his play calling ability to just go with that play.
Yeah, so the experience factor, um, a lot of the things that the 49ers have been able to get away with just won't fly in the Super Bowl. And of course, it being the Super Bowl, players are motivated to give their all. And so, and obviously considering these teams have been here before, it's going to be interesting to see what coaches are able to get away with because um, I would say, the Lions, they threw quite a bit at San Francisco, a lot of screen passes, and obviously having two phenomenal running backs to go for over 180 on the best defense all year.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
yeah, so, thinking about the Lions in comparison to Kansas City, um, Pacheco, I don't know if he has shown in the past he can be a workhorse who you can rely on to run your offense through. But um, you know, two running backs who are good are better than one running back who is good, obviously. And so
yeah.
they're gonna need to rely on hopefully Jerick McKinnon can play, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But yeah, Dan, you know. I don't know if Kansas City is going to be, or excuse me, I don't know if the 49ers are going to be able to hang with uh, an experienced playoff team and Super Bowl team like Andy Reid and Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, you take a look at what they've done and what they've built through this dynasty here in this Super Bowl run that they've had in the last 5 years. It's going to take the 49ers a hell of a fight to just, continue to go up against the big beast. So, I mean, it's likely that San Fran will make those plays, but I don't see them taking care of the experienced Chiefs.
If Christian McCaffrey can really get going and he just runs wild through Kansas City, that's the
Yeah,
one uh place that I could see that this game stays with the 49ers within distance. But as much as Brock Purdy's proved this playoffs, as far as his escapability out of the pocket, breaking sacks, and leading comebacks, it's just, he's already done it twice, and I don't think it can happen a third time. So yeah, I'm with you all there. Um, we both, I'm assuming we both like Kansas City in this game. Is that correct?
that is correct. I
Yes.
already went to the casino, so come on.
That's right. You did. You
I
did
already,
place your bet.
I already went and I placed the wagers.
So yeah, you think that Taylor Swift will be victorious and this fairy tale season will go all the way the way it's supposed to end.
Yeah, the way that it was scripted from Roger Goodell's jacket, it it will end with Taylor Swift and the Kansas City Chiefs victorious.
Yeah, oh man. I don't know if the internet will be prepared for that once it happens, but I mean, it's bound to happen, dude. It really is. I don't see a world where we don't get to see her celebrating with the Chiefs on the field after the Super Bowl. So, yeah,
Yeah,
it's just been a fun season, and if there are fans who can't see the greatness in just how big the
I mean,
sport's
come on.
getting, it's just the game's growing at such an incredible rate, and there are, ways that specific people are able to use their image to just promote the game for the right reasons and just, celebrating your team and celebrating. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
part
it's
of the
gonna
game.
happen.
You see it every year.
So yeah. Um, yeah, I think it's gonna be a close game. I think I'm gonna go 28-24 Kansas City. Um,
Ooh,
they're up by they're going to be up for most of the game, and I think there might be a second half comeback, but um yeah, I like Kansas City in this one, 28-24.
I like Kansas City. I love them 35-27.
Sweet. Yeah, it's like that's
There's
the
a
one. Yeah, it's like
comeback in the fourth quarter. Mahomes gets the ball last, drives him down the field, puts it into the end zone to the Travis Kelsey. Taylor Swift goes berserk. We see her on the live screen, and that's it. Kansas City wins.
I love it, dude. He better not though. He better not propose at on the field after the game. He better not.
No, he better not. He better save that for
A private
after the
moment.
year's over with. Yeah, just just let him do it in a hotel room with a bunch of flowers and
Yeah.
a cocktail there and there, and then just
Yeah.
settle it. You don't have to do it on the biggest stage because everyone's watching.
Yeah, exactly, dude. And so, no, I just think it's funny because I'm pretty sure there's some betting odds right now on if
Oh yeah, there is. I think it was plus 190 in Las Vegas, the odds. Plus 190 around 200.
Oh man. Yeah, it's dude, it being in Vegas too, man, like holy cow. Like talk like the betting capital of the world practically. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I mean,
hopefully they
shoot,
got
I would
all.
have been in a casino.
Yeah, if you're a
Las
player down,
Vegas, Nevada, man.
yeah, how are the coaches better be keeping these guys locked away, curfew at like 6 o'clock, like man.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're excited. And then lastly, as we conclude this football season, at least I know one of the first things when I was introduced to Daniel in that seventh grade baseball dugout on our baseball team together,
Oh
one of
yeah.
the first things I learned about Dan was the fact that he knew every single fact about every Super Bowl that had been played, whether
Yep.
it's where it was played, who the teams were, what the score was, who the MVP was. I was told this guy,
Which stadium it was played?
what state? Yeah, I was told this guy, man, you can ask him any and he'll know it. Any random Super Bowl, it doesn't have to be chronological order or nothing, and he'll know it.
No, it's whatever order. And let me just say this. Why am I not on the street corner in Las Vegas doing this to random NFL fans? I would be making millions of dollars right now.
That's right. And so, yeah, I think it's been explored in the past with you posting some videos, but to wrap up this Super Bowl episode, we thought, why not just do a video showing off your true talent in the flesh? And
Super
so,
Bowl trivia showcase.
yeah, so because of that, we will be recording an in-person segment for this episode to show off Dan's talent and and also to prove that he's not faking this, that
No,
he doesn't have any secret
he's
note
not trolling.
cards or we didn't script this. I didn't tell him the answers beforehand. So Dan, do you have any other words before we send them off to our next segment?
Yeah. Tune in for the next clip. We'll get it out there shortly. Uh, everyone, tune in for the Super Bowl. It's going to be a big one.
Yep, we're going to be watching it together and we hope you guys enjoy this next segment. See ya.
See you later. Peace.